Hi. Um, Good morning or afternoon if you're watching this in the afternoon or evening. My name is Patti Hardy, and I am here because I just observed some classes, and I'd like to give a little bit of feedback based on the first week of observations. I'm not done visiting everyone's classes, but I did want to get you some quick feedback, and I have this nice background here because I really want it to be a conversation, and I'm looking forward to us in in the same way we would maybe gather at a cafe to talk about how can we kind of solve this puzzle of teaching online. I really want this to be an informal conversation, one that we can both add to and really do this for our students. So if you will, join me on the next couple slides. First of all, you are my heroes. I truly mean it when I say that. This is challenging work, and I admire you for all that you are doing to really make this the best for our students. Keep up the great work, and I commend you for taking on this difficult task. I do want to say, first of all, that I saw many positive things in the classrooms. I saw teachers having fun. I saw smiles. I saw prepared PowerPoints with pictures and teachers talking about what was on those PowerPoints with conviction and um, with confidence. I saw lessons starting off with clear objectives being communicated. I saw classroom management rules being established and enforced, even though we are online, how important it is to make sure that our students understand our expectations. And lastly, I just saw caring teachers. I saw teachers who've poured their heart and soul into what you're doing, even though this is online. So thank you for taking this seriously and for all your hard work. Um, I think without saying, the best characteristic of a teacher is one that is ready. Is the characteristic should be that you always want to learn, right? Because if you always want to learn, that's the same characteristic you want in your children and your students. So I do want to just point out about three things that I think all of us could use. Some of us did this better than others, and that's okay. Um, it could have been for different reasons. Maybe I didn't see the right lesson. Maybe you're going to do this tomorrow. However, take this feedback with positivity and figure out a piece or two that might be applicable to you out of these three strategies that we're going to talk about next. So the first area of growth, grows, if you will. We had glows and grows. An area of growth would be teaching vocabulary always and often. Remember, our students are learning English, and many times they're learning Spanish, right? They don't speak Spanish at home. Many of our students don't speak English at home. And even if they do, they may not speak a formal version of English. And so that's to say that it's on us to teach them that academic vocabulary. And so thinking about 5 to 7 vocabulary words in every lesson that you're going to teach is very doable. And thinking about ways that you can add words, one word and pictures. I'm going to show you in just a moment. Um, Here is a quick sequence that you can follow. You say the word, you explain it in less than 60 seconds, you have them repeat it, you use a hand motion, so total physical response. If I'm saying, wash my hands, I'm going to do this, I'm going to rub my hands together, so it makes it more comprehensible. This is a second language acquisition strategy. And then everyone says it together. Again, you say the word, you explain it in less than 60 seconds. Washing your hands means to clean your hands with soap and water. And then you repeat it, washing your hands. Then you use a hand motion, washing my hands. Washing my hands means cleaning my hands with soap and water. And then everyone says it together. Everyone say it together. I'm going to give you more examples in just a moment. Um, I oftentimes popped in and I observed a moment where teachers were explaining something, whether it might have been an event, it might have been a couple of events in a story. So what I'm suggesting is to use a timeline as you're speaking to your students. Use a sequence and then add to that sentence stems, because oftentimes I heard teachers asking students to answer questions, and students, maybe there was a moment of silence, or not everybody was participating, or the quicker students were able to, maybe the students who know English as their first language are the ones that are chiming in first. but how can we give all students an opportunity, whether they be English language learners or Spanish language learners, the opportunity to participate in the class? So backing up a little bit, talking about timeline and sequence. You can use a visual timeline or sequence. There is an ability on Google Slides to add a timeline and just to fill in a quick, if you have four sequence of events, 3 events, and it has different styles. You can add pictures as well. So I would say few words, more pictures, because you're going to be talking, so you don't need all of the words on there. The pictures are a visual cue, again, second language acquisition strategies for English learners or Spanish learners. And then lastly, when we talk about sentence stems, we talk about giving students a piece of a sentence so that they don't have to think about everything that you have just taught them, and they can just master, they just have to input a small piece of what you're asking them. So you're giving them most of the sentence, and then they can just fill in. So for a student who's more advanced, they might be opting for sentence 1 to use that sentence. A student who maybe is more middle to high might be using option B. I wonder how the Virgin Mary, and then they can fill in that information with the knowledge that they would like to share. I'll also be sharing with you an article that goes along with this area of growth. But one thing that I did notice was that in some classrooms, not all, teachers would resort to round robin reading, or popcorn reading, which studies show is not effective, because this specifically is a detriment to our English language learners or students who are learning the language that we are teaching, whether that be Spanish or English, mainly because students that struggle reading are often focused on when it's their turn, therefore they're not really focusing on the content. Also, we have here that this strategy tends to heighten the affective filter for language learners. Again, creating more stress than reducing it, and therefore, again, not allowing the student to fully dive into the lesson. There are other more effective ways to get content to students, and I have some alternatives here. One specific alternative I would suggest is, if you're planning on reading a text for the next 2 to 3 days, I suggest a predictable sequence where students are going to be exposed to the text and can become more familiar with it, therefore to a certain point learning it, and then are able to more focus on the content of it. So the first day the teacher would read aloud the text slowly, and modeling a good rate of speech for whatever grade the child is in. And then the second day, the students would chorally read with the teacher. I know that can be a little bit challenging with Zoom. However, you can also just trust that your students are reading along with you while you are doing the reading aloud. And then the third day, the students would chorally read. Again, I know that can be difficult sometimes with everybody's Zoom and their internet, but again, trying that sequence versus a round robin reading can be more effective than picking on different students to read. And again, I'll share an article with you regarding this. So I did want to quickly model a lesson using the strategies that I have suggested. So one of the things I saw today, which was great, was an objective that was written and very clearly communicated to the students. So today I'm going to pretend like I'm teaching you a lesson, and it's about Harry, el perrito sucio. Well, it's not about that, but I'm using this text to teach you the lesson. And the objective will be asking and answering questions about a text using facts that you find in the text. So I have it written in Spanish, and I'll continue in Spanish. For those of you who teach in English, I believe you speak some Spanish, and if not, hopefully I'll use enough strategies for second language acquisition that you'll be able to understand how I'm teaching and what it is that I'm teaching. El objetivo de hoy es Haz y contesta preguntas sobre un cuento usando hechos que se encuentran en el texto. Muy bien, chicos. Aquí, si es que no entienden lo que está escrito del objetivo, vamos a hacerlo juntos. Se los voy a comunicar con señas, usando mis manos. Así que vamos a hacer y contestar preguntas sobre un texto usando hechos que se encuentran en un texto. ¿Pueden decirlo conmigo? Haz y contesta preguntas sobre un cuento usando hechos que se encuentran en un texto. Muy bien. Así que el objetivo de hoy es, díganlo conmigo todos, haz y contesta preguntas sobre un cuento usando hechos que se encuentran en el texto. Antes de leer, quisiera ver un poco de vocabulario con ustedes. Unas palabras que vamos a encontrar en el texto son manchas. Todos digan manchas. Manchas. Muchas personas y animales tienen manchas en la piel. Mancha significa un color distinto arriba de la piel de un animal. Manchas. Todos digan manchas. Manchas. Muy bien. La palabra excepto. Excepto significa todo, pero una cosa. Todos digan, todo, pero una cosa. Esto es muy similar a una palabra en inglés que se llama except. Everything except. La palabra excepto. Todos repítanla conmigo. Excepto. Muy bien, excepto. Esta palabra la vamos a ver en el texto que vamos a leer. Luego tenemos la palabra cepillo. Todos digan cepillo. El cepillo es algo que se usa para cepillar el pelo. A veces tenemos un cepillo de dientes también. Todos digan cepillo. Cepillo o cepillo. Se puede usar para los dientes y para el pelo, pero no se usa el mismo. Digan, cepillar es el acto de peinar el pelo o limpiar y cepillando, ¿verdad? Todas estas palabras vienen de la palabra cepillo. Un cepillo se puede usar para bañar a un perro, se puede usar para lavarnos los dientes, se puede usar para peinar nuestro pelo. La palabra ensució, todos digan ensució, se ensució las manos, ensució. De la palabra ensució viene la palabra ensuciar y ensucié. También hay otras palabras, pero por hoy quisiera resaltar la palabra ensució. Se ensució las manos. Cuando alguien se ensucia las manos es que se llena de algo, tal vez tierra que no quiere, que no quieren las manos. La tierra es algo que no queremos en nuestras manos, tal vez la pintura. Entonces nos podemos ensuciar con pintura, nos podemos ensuciar con tierra o con otro material. Así es, un material o algo que está en nuestras manos o en nuestro cuerpo que no lo queremos ahí. Así que la palabra ensuciar, todos digan ensuciar, muy bien, o ensució. La siguiente palabra son vías de tren, todos digan vías de tren, muy bien, vías de tren. Las vías de tren son como el carril que usa el tren para andar hacia adelante o hacia atrás. En muchos casos el tren va hacia adelante, así que es el camino por donde va el tren. Vías de tren. Deslizó. La palabra deslizó significa resbalarse, resbalarse. Todos digan, se deslizó. Muchas veces ustedes les gusta deslizarse por el resbaladero, ¿sí? Deslizó. Convertirse. Cuando algo se convierte en otra cosa es que cambia. Entonces todos podemos decir convertirse, convertirse, ¿sí? Esta monarca, esta mariposa que está aquí, la estamos viendo que está saliendo de su capullo, se está convirtiendo en una mariposa, ¿sí? De su capullo era una oruga, se hizo su capullo a su alrededor y luego está saliendo de su capullo, convirtiéndose en una mariposa. La palabra es convertirse. Y esta palabra es un cognado que existe una palabra en inglés que se llama convert. Convert, yes. Changing into, convert. convertirse. Son palabras muy similares al inglés y en el español. Bien, así que antes de ver la secuencia, quisiera leer un poco el libro con ustedes. Imagínense que lo vamos a leer, así que llegamos, tal vez algunos de ustedes ya lo han leído. Imagínense que lo hemos leído, que llegamos a esas palabras de vocabulario, los estoy señalando a los estudiantes. Tal vez hacemos el movimiento con las manos de las palabras de vocabulario y luego continuamos con la secuencia. El objetivo de hoy era hacer preguntas basadas a hacer y contestar preguntas basadas en el texto, con hechos en el texto. Así que si yo estuviera platicando, hablando con mis estudiantes sobre el libro, me aseguraría de tener un tipo de secuencia como la que ven aquí en la pantalla. Ese es un dato que pudiera ayudarles a los estudiantes, especialmente aquellos que son estudiantes que no saben el inglés o no saben el español, ver una guía que les puede mostrar los eventos con unos iconos puede ser súper útil para ellos. Así que primero tengo Harry no se quiere bañar, se esconde con su cepillo y se escapa. Segundo, el segundo suceso, juega y se ensucia mucho. Aquí tengo un perrito y se ensució mucho. Eso es lo que sucedió en el texto. Tercero, se pone muy triste y regresa a casa porque piensa que lo han olvidado. ¿Qué pregunta nos pudiéramos hacer con los hechos para el cuarto suceso? Mañana vamos a continuar de leer, así que vamos a plantearnos algunas preguntas. Bien, esto es todo lo que quisiera ver por esta semana. Espero poderles mostrar más ejemplos de estrategias que pudieran utilizar ustedes en su salón de clases. De nuevo, quisiera decirles muchas gracias por la labor que están haciendo. Los felicito. Y cualquier duda, pregunta, no duden en mandarme un correo y podríamos hacer una cita para ver de qué manera les pudiera ayudar. Así que feliz noche y que tengan un excelente inicio de semana.